Okay, so hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, we're doing what if Naruto knew every single jutsu in the Naruto universe, which sounds crazy because it is. Now, if you are new to this channel, please do consider subscribing and liking because it helps with the YouTube algorithm and also helps me out a lot, so I would appreciate it. But I don't want to waste your guys' time too much. Let's get right into this what if. So finding a good backstory for this what if was very difficult because, to be honest, there's no reasonable way that I can make Naruto learn every single jutsu. I mean, I could just say he was born with the knowledge, but I came up with something else instead. But if it's not the best backstory, just deal with it. If you had any better ideas, make sure to write that in the comment just down below if you have any what if ideas. But yeah, anyways, back to the what if. So we go back to Naruto as a small kid who the previous day had just been beaten up by a bunch of bullies since Naruto was trying to protect Hinata, and he ended up getting himself beat up. But Naruto is just sitting there crying on his bed, and he's just wishing he was stronger. He's wishing nobody could bully him like that he was actually strong. No, the strongest in the village, enough to become the Hokage. That's all he wanted. Strong enough so that people would finally respect him and see him as something different than just the nine-tailed brat. So Naruto went off on a quest, as he just went around trying to find a way to get stronger. And he kept searching in the libraries and looking at all the scrolls, but he just never could find anything that was exactly what he wanted. There were, of course, some of the more basic stuff that Naruto did look at, but mostly just ignored. And he just, scanned every single library, looking through every single scroll, and basically spending an entire year memorizing and trying to master every last jutsu on the scrolls. And Naruto was slowly getting bored of these jutsu. Even though he had mastered tons of jutsus, he was just, not mastered necessarily, but had learned basically tons of jutsus. He just wasn't satisfied. There was still something missing. So he decided to look the last place he knew. And this place would be the Hokage's office. Now, Naruto one night had everything planned. The entire plan, just like, how he was gonna sneak in, how he was gonna do it. He had everything planned. So when the time came, Naruto took off as he started running to the Hokage's office. It was basically midnight and everyone was mostly asleep. Now, Naruto had used a transformation jutsu to, just a simple one, to make himself look like an Anbu member. And, after that, he had just worn a dark colored outfit and just snuck around through the night and just snuck into the Hokage's office. And to be honest, if a Genin Naruto, not even Genin Naruto, in canon was able to do this, so can this Naruto. Naruto started looking around the office as he was just searching for anything that could possibly, help, and any scrolls, anything. And, eventually he stumbled across a room. And inside this room was not the sacred scroll of sealing, but something way more powerful. As it was a huge scroll, kind of like the scroll of sealing and, the scroll that Naruto wears on his back when he arrives to fight Pain, something that kind of looks around that size. And Naruto, the instant he sees it, knows that this is what he was looking for. As he slowly walks towards it and puts his hands on it. But the instant he touches it, something happens. He just completely passes out and wakes up somewhere else. And when he wakes up, he sees none other than the Sage of Six Paths standing in front of him. As he says, "Well, I see you have found my scroll. I didn't expect or plan for you to do this, especially not at this age, but I guess there's no harm in giving you my power early on. Well, I won't explain the full details of it to you because I don't think you'll be able to understand, but put in simple terms, I'm kind of like a god, and you are one of the people who will gain my powers. Well, even if it's just, not full all of it, but maybe half. You're the reincarnation of my son." And, the Sage of Six Paths just goes on this, whole thing explaining, everything he explained to Naruto, in canon, and he's just doing all of his explanation with Naruto listening, completely concentrated. And so after, Hagoromo finishes his whole backstory thing, he says, "Well, I won't give you my full power now. Your body isn't ready for it. But I still can give you something." As he lightly taps Naruto on the head, as Naruto wakes back, as, he gets warped back into reality, as, he's holding this scroll in his hands. He's like, wow, this sudden surge of power. Now, what the Sage of Six Paths had done was he had given Naruto all of his wisdom and knowledge, which basically taught Naruto just about every single jutsu. Because if there's anyone who knows every jutsu, I'd put my money on Hagoromo. Of all people, I bet he's the only person actually capable of doing that. So Naruto, with this incredible new knowledge, realizes that, he doesn't need this scroll anymore, I guess. I mean, first of all, if he stole it, it would be very obvious, and it would create this whole search thing where people start searching for the scroll, trying to find who stole it. And second of all, he already learned every jutsu from that encounter with the Sage of Six Paths, so he doesn't actually need it anymore. And Naruto, being now smart and wise, because he has the wisdom and knowledge of the Sage of Six Paths, decides to just, quietly, secretly exit the office, the Hokage's office, without leaving a trace. Now, Naruto trains with these new powers he got all the way until his first day at the academy. And, at the first day, Iruka decides to, test the people, all the just all the academy students, kind of see what level they're at. And, first there's a physical exam where they run laps and they see who can run the most laps. And, Naruto gets second place on this. Second only to Sasuke himself. Because although Naruto is really OP at this point, his physical strength is stronger than what it was in canon, but of course it's just, it's still slightly behind Sasuke's. So after that though, Sasuke loses to Naruto in the Shuriken and Kunai throwing test because Naruto has incredible precision and can literally just doesn't miss. So Sasuke loses to Naruto in that, and after a few more stuff like the written exam where Naruto destroys everyone and breaks some records, it's time for sparring. And the sparring match that's going to be happening is Naruto versus Sasuke. Now, Naruto and Sasuke both immediately rush at each other the instant the match starts. And, just Sasuke straight up goes in for a punch right off the bat, just dashing at Naruto. Naruto also starts running at Sasuke, but instead of punching Sasuke, he jumps into the sky right before Sasuke can punch him. And right after he jumps into the sky, there's this moment where Sasuke like, wait a second, where's Naruto? What's going on? And, well, he eventually looks up and sees Naruto in the air, who has now started weaving hand signs as he says, water style, water ball jutsu. And you guys, this is basically just like a rip-off version of the fireball jutsu. It's like, imagine the fireball jutsu but with water style. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like, and yes, I did make this jutsu up, but just deal with it. I'm gonna be making a bunch of jutsu up throughout this thing because, I can. But yeah, Naruto uses this jutsu, and he purposefully chose this jutsu as to not harm Sasuke, because a fireball jutsu would be basically, scorched Sasuke, getting burns all over his body. But with this option, Sasuke almost doesn't get hurt at all. But what does happen is from the knockback and the way the water will push Sasuke away, it just sends Sasuke flying out of the circle. And by the rules, Naruto had now won the spar. And Iruka was, for one, impressed at the fact that Naruto had pulled off a jutsu such as that. And, he was also impressed at, his speed, his IQ. Generally, he didn't seem like an academy student. He seemed more like a Jonin, the way he thought, the way he fought. Oh my god. Fought and thought is like basically the same word, but it means a bunch, like, very different things. Anyways, sorry, but continuing the what if, Sasuke ends up getting really mad at this. So after that day when Naruto is going home, Sasuke just ends up following Naruto and stops him on the way, asking for a spar. And he says, this time, there are no boundaries. It's just whoever knocks the other person out, or, the person concedes to defeat, admits defeat, will lose. And Naruto accepts this challenge as they both get into their positions and start fighting. Now, once again, Sasuke makes the exact same move, rushing in at Naruto. But on the other hand, Naruto doesn't move because he already knows what Sasuke's next 3 moves are going to be. And so using this, Naruto, although not being the most skilled in taijutsu, he mostly already knows what Sasuke is gonna do from the way he's running and their previous fight. So Naruto, seeing that he's doing the same thing, just stands there, and Sasuke feels kind of disrespected, why is he just standing there? So this is kind of part of Naruto's plan, as Sasuke goes in for a right hook, a left uppercut, and then a kick. But Naruto literally dodges both, blocks both of these punches, and then when the kick is coming, Naruto just, blocks it with the side of his hand as he dashes in at Sasuke with full speed, dashing at his opening, and literally punches Sasuke in the gut, sending him flying away. And this wouldn't be what if Naruto knew every jutsu if Naruto didn't use any jutsu to win the fights. So Naruto just used a wind style attack, not necessarily a wind bullet because that would genuinely like injure Sasuke, but he used like a wind push sort of attack that literally just sent Sasuke flying even further back, just smashing into a building and being knocked out. And with that, Naruto having won the battle, and after making sure that Sasuke was fine and dropping him off by the hospital, just to make sure that he is, totally fine, doesn't get injured or anything, he just goes back to his house. And this is how it goes on for almost the entire time in the academy. Now, I'm just gonna skip all the way to the graduation exams. As, Naruto arrives to class pretty early. I mean, he's excited for the whole graduation exam, but at the same time, he already knows he's gonna pass, so he doesn't really care, if you get what I mean. And basically, it's really easy, as all you have to do is a transformation jutsu, which Naruto knew years ago already, so it wasn't really too hard for him. So he decided to show off, as he went to the front of the classroom, as he's created 50 mud clones, right? And this is already pretty advanced sort of jutsu that academy students shouldn't be able to create. But on top of that, he transformed every single clone transformed into an important person in history. So one of them became Madara, another Hashirama, another one of them the other Hokage, Tobirama, all of the important shinobi in history. And Iruka seeing this is like, you definitely pass, as Naruto's like, thanks. And he just goes back down to his seat. And, everybody ends up passing, and Naruto thinks that's all, as he starts heading home. And, Iruka tells everyone that they're gonna get their Jonin senseis tomorrow. Now, on his way home, Mizuki comes in to stop him, as he's like, you did really well, so there's actually a thing where if a student does really well, they're allowed to enter this secret portion of the graduation exam that can promote you straight to Chunin. And Naruto's like, I'm listening. And Mizuki explains how he explains that Naruto has to steal the scroll of sealing. And Naruto hearing this, and Naruto being as smart as the Sage of Six Paths, he's like, oh, I already know what's going on here. Sorry. And so he decides to just literally head to the location and wait for Mizuki to arrive. And before he heads off to the location, he just lets Jonin people know. Like, he talks to Iruka and some Anbu, maybe, I don't know, just whoever would be monitoring the area at that time, and he informs them of what Mizuki's doing, so they watch, but he just tells them not to interfere with their battle. So when Mizuki arrives, he's like, so, kid, where's the scroll? As Naruto says, well, I didn't take it. As for a moment, Mizuki is confused, but in this moment of confusion, a clone of Naruto literally comes out from behind Mizuki and punches him straight in the back. And at the same time, Naruto's like, Phoenix Fire Jutsu, as he sends a bunch of mini fireballs in Mizuki's direction. And as Mizuki's able to dodge a couple of them, one of them ends up hitting him. And taking this moment to his advantage, Naruto literally dashes at Mizuki, punching him in the gut, uppercutting him, and then just kicking him away. As he's like flying now. But that's not all. Naruto manages just to get behind him, and he's still like flying through the air because of that kick. He creates a mud wall as Mizuki slams into him, almost breaking his back and basically getting knocked out. As Naruto sort of just ties his hands and gives him to the Anbu members, as they're just like, wow, this kid is really good. And they're like, this kid is like almost Anbu level. How is he this strong? As they report this to the Hokage, as he's like, that Naruto kid really does have potential. And he's just thinking to himself, saying that he would promote him to Chunin, but he doesn't feel like it. And yeah, the next day Naruto comes in to learn his Jonin sensei. So guys, I'm sorry, but that is where I'm going to be having to end this video. I know I usually go a bit further in part 1, but I have a lot of stuff to do today, and I really cannot find the time to record 3 more minutes that I could add to the next video. So unfortunately, that is it for today. I will be releasing another episode tomorrow, so if you want to see that, make sure to like and subscribe. But yeah, see you next time.